The beautiful and still largely undeveloped island of Sardinia plays host to round 5 of the European Offshore Championship for Class 1 powerboats. After the chaos of Venice, which saw the cancellation of the event due to bad weather, this is a scene of comparative calm. The championship, of course, started in Spain on the island of Mallorca, then east along the south coast of France to Saint-Tropez and then Nice. With round 4 cancelled in Venice, the point situation from Nice remains the same before the race starts here in Porto Cervo, on the Costa Smeralda on the northeastern tip of the island. The boat that leads the championship, number 23, Chesterfield. And diesel power certainly proving at this stage of the championship a considerable threat to the petrol-driven engines. Annabella came in 3rd place in the race at Nice, separated from the leader by Sea Reg. Angelo Spelter is here with Fresh and Clean, a long-time campaigner, and at the back there of his son's boat, Unlimited Jeans. The man behind this boat, Alberto Diridoni, used to run with Angelo Spelter when they were so successful in Nuxi back in the mid-80s. The word is he could be very competitive. But let's have a look at the championship prior to the start of this 5th round of the European Series. In 1st place, Chesterfield, Vittorio Missoni with the diesel-powered boat. In 2nd place, the Cougar Catamaran, Sea Reg, driven by Marco Capaferri and Marcello Curioni. 3rd place, Casiraghi and Innocento in Pino di Pino. After a brilliant start in Mallorca, Curtis and Vincenzo Poli are back in 4th place, their original boat on the bottom of the sea. In 5th place, Jack Daniels. Pegazzano and Di Marco in control of this boat, and we've yet to see it in its full competitive form. In 6th equal place come 3 boats, showing just how close the championship is. Ferrari Shipyards, Fresh and Clean with Angelo Spelter, and the distinctive red and yellow hull of Annabella. 3 diesel-powered boats holding on to 6th place. In 9th place comes the French monohull Leader, not entered at this event, but very competitive and the only truly competitive monohull in this year's championship so far. 10th equal, their best place so far 4th in Nice, but superb speed from Achille Motors. They're tying with Damiano Spelter and Unlimited, who has shown us just what sort of speed you can get from a diesel-powered boat when he overtook Achille in Nice. This is the scene here today in Porto Cervo, and already we have seen a disaster for the SDA Rainbow team. Eduardo Poli's revolutionary catamaran hull, special development work on the engines, the structure of the hull itself making a very, very light boat, and testing saw this boat veer violently onto its side. The crew safe and the boat towed slowly back into harbour. Now the difficult task of getting it out of the water. Divers in. Of course, great care has to be taken not to stress the hull any more than is necessary, and for Eduardo Poli, the second sad story of this 1990 season. His son, Vincenzo, partnering Steve Curtis with that beautiful catamaran sitting on the bottom of the sea somewhere off Nice, unable to be found, and now this. The left-hand rear side of the boat blown open by the force of the water, and you can see one of the 4 specially developed Subaru engines in the back of the boat there, turbocharged, and there are separate gearboxes for each of those engines. It's been a difficult year for Eduardo Poli with this boat, but many of the top drivers know that in testing it has put on a superb performance. He only needs to convert that performance into real race speed. Engine checkout prior to the start of the race. In comes Johnny Lambs. You can see the safety cockpits that a lot of these drivers choose to race inside now. And after testing, we spoke to Steve Curtis.
The boat's not excessively quick. It's an old boat. It's the old style cockpits. It's an average boat. I think if we can have a little rough water where we can use you know, maybe our ability a little bit and we can really get up on top of it. We don't need those extra couple of miles an hour on top, you know, and we should be able to, you know, come through okay. And we're still looking for the other boat, because the other boat was, it was a fantastic boat, and it was sort of the McLaren, shall we say, of offshore. But, you know, luckily we have a spare boat for the time being. And the main thing for us to do is to get some sport points and get back in the race for the European Championship.
Having started the season in a fully enclosed cockpit and now in an open cockpit, was he finding things difficult?
It is pretty hairy, you know, because when you're inside, you've got a lot of confidence, you know, you're harnessed in, and then suddenly we're completely the opposite. We're outside, we've got a lot of wind in the face, you're getting wet, you know, water's hitting you in the face, and you feel everything when you're standing up, which isn't a bad thing at times because you know what's happening more. But it is a little more unnerving, and I definitely do prefer the canopy boats.
In a partially enclosed cockpit comes the challenge from Northern Europe, from Finland, Nota Real, headed by J.P. Mattila, with 2 American Lightning engines. There were very strong winds here in Porto Cervo on race day. Did it concern J.P. Mattila?
Not exactly, no, because this is a big one. It's a 41-footer, and it's a good boat in the rough sea. The only thing you have to have is calm attitude towards the driving, because if you push it too hard, anything could happen. So, but if you keep it steady, it goes quite nicely, also in the rough weather.
With only 17 points on the board, was Mattila disappointed with the team's performance so far?
Well, to be honest, we are very disappointed about the two races. We almost did a bingo, as we say. But on the other hand, we are very happy with the equipment. We are very happy with the team, and the spirit in the team especially is very good. And the things that really happened didn't actually go our way, but in the end of the day, I'm sure we'll be happy, because everything is going smoothly anyway.
Before the start of the race, Stefano Casiraghi explained just some of the controls he's responsible for in Pino di Pino.
First I have the throttle, or in the speed of the boat. Then I have the trim. And in this boat I have a special trim. It is in front, you see, I can open the front of the boat. And this changes the aerodynamic of the boat.
The aerodynamic control of any boat is a very delicate affair. With such strong winds before the race, was Casiraghi concerned?
No, here it's possible to do the race because you have many islands. Then you have the possibility to be covered from the wind. And in Venice, no, because it's open. Here, for sure, we do the race, 100%.
A second place in Saint-Tropez for Jack Daniels had brought them 300 points. Before and after that, the results had been very thin on the ground. Did the onshore wind worry the team?
The Jack Daniel boat is very good boat for this wind. This sea is fantastic for this boat.
One driver who had a very close call in testing was Damiano Spelter. With diesel Isotta engines in the back of his boat, he has shown us on more than one occasion during the championship in 1990 that his personal aspirations for this boat are nothing less than unlimited. So far this season, the Apache hull of Reggiani has yet to show its true performance. It has Lamborghini power. The importance of propellers cannot be underestimated. Steve Curtis's team works very closely with the roller workshops in Switzerland. A minuscule adjustment can make all the difference between winning and coming way back in the field. And Curtis has confided that his best development props are sitting on the bottom of the sea with that beautiful Baguta hull. And so, out to the start of the race. All the boats forming to the southern end of the Costa Smeralda course. Our helicopters lifting off now in preparation for the race, and we wait also as the boats mill slowly, waiting to form up at the start of the race. And here they are, you can see, in a line behind the start boat where they have to stay until the flag's dropped, and then you'll see them wind on the power, which they are doing now. Renato Molinari in his new Trassardi boat there, pushing away at the head of the pack. a very different design of boat with a vertical aerofoil, a little similar to the rudder on an aeroplane. But now they really are picking up speed as they head off on the first of 3 laps. The first lap, a short one, away and round a small island, and then back towards us again. But look at this racing here. Baguta in the foreground, Ferrari Shipyards in the middle, Eduardo Poli in that boat and obviously providing a considerable amount of experience to give them that speed. Look how close the racing is. Ferrari Shipyards, Jack Daniels and Achille Motors almost side by side there. And they are now as they head away out towards the islands. Tremendously close racing. The diesel power of Jack Daniels, the petrol power of Ferrari, the petrol power of Achille. And away they go at tremendous speed on a lightly choppy course. Grana Padano there also having a good run today, not really competitive so far this season, but today on this sea in the Costa Smeralda, very, very fast indeed. They're running close to Nota Real and Mitsubishi. Their average speed here about 134 kilometers per hour, about 72 miles an hour. This beautifully designed boat, the capsules very close together in marked contrast to Ferrari here with the capsules much further apart. And at the moment, Ferrari has taken the lead and is really putting on a superb display on the blue waters of the Costa Smeralda. Just behind is Renato Molinari, and he has major problems. Off the power, off the plane, and out of the race goes Renato Molinari, the former Formula One world champion, contesting offshore Class 1 yet again this season with the brand new Trussardi hull. But down there you can hear the scream of the Lamborghinis, and the scream is coming from Ferrari Shipyards. The challenge is coming here from Fresh and Clean. The racing's so close, very similar to Nice, and really proving how the balance this year between the petrol and diesel engines has been sorted out. Back towards us, on the headland they come once more. In the lead there, Ferrari Shipyards. In the distance is Chesterfield. And Chesterfield is running almost side by side with Achille Motors, who's to the left out of our shot at the moment. A fantastic performance by Ferrari as they come back at the end of the first lap. And that is Samsonite, the monohull, who have missed part of the course, we understand, at the far end, out of sight, and have caught up phenomenally and are misplaced. Through the start-finish line and out now onto the second lap. And here's the second place man, Achille Motors. Samsonite, of course, in third place, but misplaced. Chesterfield in fourth, Fresh and Clean in fifth, Baguta in sixth place. Then Casiraghi in seventh, way down. This is Fresh and Clean in fifth place. Angelo Spelter having yet another good run. And going out now to start the second of the 3 laps on this race. Round 5 of the European Class 1 Offshore Championship for 1990. Paul Picot there, who had such a close run with Baguta on the first race at Mallorca, but not featuring so well here. Back in 12th place, Paul Picot is at the moment. And here is Chesterfield coming up to move past Samsonite, the catamaran passing the monohull. Chesterfield, of course, leading the championship at the moment, looking for another win here today. Chasing after that first place up ahead of them. And the boat that's in the lead, Ferrari Shipyards. A very familiar pattern starting to form as we enter this 5th round of the championship, where the high power of the petrol engines gets them into the lead at the early stages of the race, and then slowly and gradually the diesel-powered boats begin to pick up speed as their fuel load lightens and the boat becomes lighter and more competitive. Vittorio Missoni down there, well in control of Chesterfield. The diesel engines so much quieter than the petrol engines, as you can hear. And just out of shot, out to the right-hand side, Ferrari are under tremendous pressure from Achille Motors. There they are, and snatching the lead once again in this championship goes Achille Motors. The 4-valve technology proving itself against the 2-valve technology. And now, Ferrari have moved back into the lead again. This is a remarkable battle for first place here in Sardinia. Round 5 of the European Championship. 2 Lamborghini-powered boats in first and second, then the diesel power comes up behind with Fresh and Clean and Jack Daniels. But a tremendous fight here as they come into one of the marks on the second course and away again back towards the port to enter their third lap. Through goes Jack Daniels there, Achille down below us, and Chesterfield now coming up to challenge Achille. Just ahead of them there is the leading boat of Ferrari, and they must be feeling the pressure now from the 2 boats behind them. Away out round the islands, this dramatically rocky coastline providing a superb backdrop for this, the top and most spectacular form of water sport, powered water sport there is. Still holding the lead, Ferrari Shipyards. In second place, Achille Motors. In third place and very close behind, but on a wider arc, is Jack Daniels. Ferrari Shipyards, average speed 147 kilometers per hour. That's almost 80 miles per hour as an average speed on the open sea. A Cougar catamaran. Bruno Palcetti, Edoardo Poli and Massimo Rugali inside. But the question in their minds will be, can they keep this performance up? They have superb speed, the boat is on excellent trim. Very difficult there as it dances from one sponson to another, but still in the lead. And that is a helmet floating in the water. It's Chesterfield. Chesterfield have pulled out of the race and somebody's helmet has fallen off the deck of the boat. So their challenge for this race is over. And now Ferrari Shipyards has pulled off the course as well. So Angelo Spelter goes roaring past and picks up second place. And chasing this boat, Jack Daniels, the diesel-driven Isotta-powered boat, who in turn passes Renato Molinari in the Tresardi hull, making his way very slowly and sadly back to port. What a disappointing day for him. The boat launched in Venice, unable to run there, hoping to run well here in Sardinia and not doing so. Jack Daniels, though, having a magnificent drive here today. Back towards us on the headland, through the start-finish line, and south for the final lap as the helicopters buzz overhead, bringing you the pictures of them in action at sea. Back towards us also, Achille Motors, and they have been way wide of the mark. Lost tremendous amount of ground. The boat has slowed. They're shaking their fists, they're shaking their heads. The boat has stopped right on the start-finish line. Domenico Achille and Alberto Brombin having a major shouting match in that boat. They are not a happy team at all. And out in front of them now, way ahead, is a superb fight. Fresh and Clean, Angelo Spelter moving up on the hull of Jack Daniels. As we look down and they head away south, down the side of the Sardinian coastline, the beautiful rocky coastline, the beautiful blue water here as well. And we watch yet another battle as the story of this race changes time and time again. At the moment, it's Jack Daniels in the lead. Will it stay that way? Behind them, Sea Reg, quietly working their way up through the pack, working their way through the very tricky waters. But for the time being, Capo Ferri will be calculating, no doubt, exactly where he stands in the championship. Race order, Jack Daniels, Fresh and Clean, then Sea Reg, number 41, down there. Then number 77, Annabella. Then Mitsubishi. In 6th place, Reggiani. Then the Finns in Nota Real. Pino di Pino, way down the list this time. Then Grana Padano, Paul Picot, Lotto Ottiavani and Unlimited. And there you can see the order as they come into the final lap. Jack Daniels confirmed in the lead at the moment. Behind is Reggiani there, in 6th place. And now look how close the battle is for first place. Spelter is side by side with Jack Daniels. The diesel boats increasing their speed as the race goes on. The petrol threat way behind them as all the main contenders are out. This has to be some of the most spectacular coastline for offshore racing. The Jack Daniels hull, a Coon hull, built outside Viareggio on the west coast of Italy. 2 diesel-powered Isotta engines. And really knowing how to put on the show today, because they're holding on to their first place just ahead of the highly experienced Angelo Spelter. And you can see the pounding that the crew are taking there, even at this stage of the race. They know the pressure is on, and they've got to maintain their first place. From Finland, Nota Real, number 104, and here today, having the best position, although perhaps not the best run of the season. They'll be hoping that their boat can hold together and that they certainly don't lose a propeller like they did in Nice. JP Mattala on the far side, the throttle man nearest us. Mattala the pilot. And the Lightning engines really giving them the performance they've been hoping for. And here is Stefano Casaraghi. You remember the trim plate that he was discussing? Well, there it is, just ahead of the number 1 symbol on the deck of the boat. Trimmed down at the moment, giving that airflow the opportunity to run over the nose and then down inside the tunnel. A very exposed driving position compared to the enclosed capsules that some of the drivers have chosen to run in. And now, of course, Pino di Pino moving up into 4th place. Sea-Reg separating them from Fresh and Clean up in 2nd, and then Jack Daniels still holding on to 1st place. Back towards the port, back towards the finish line. Jack Daniels now sensing the win here, sensing the 400 points, and a tremendous leap up the European Championship through the start-finish line, and the crew waving their hands in the air. The first win for them this championship. 1990 seeing Jack Daniels and a different boat at every race winning so far. And after the presentation, we spoke to one of the team.
Yes, Jack Daniel in Costa Smeralda today is go very, very, very fast. And other boats, good is the boat of Angelo Spelter, Fresh and Clean. Second, other boat, no, for Jack Daniel. One boat, so Jack Daniel, Fresh and Clean. In Saint-Tropez, 2nd position. Nice, not good position. Costa Smeralda, fantastic, the 1st.
For Marco Capaferri, fantastic as well. 3rd place here means lead in the championship.
We didn't make any special effort today. The most difficult thing was mathematics, because we were from the beginning in the leading positions, and we kept on calculating the points of the boats around us. Yeah. So it was really a tactic race. The boat was perfect. We didn't have to push very hard. We had always in mind the European leadership. For the next races, we shall probably change our attitude, because there is a result which you can cancel, and we still, after 5 races, we didn't retire. So we have a 0 point which we can use to be a little bit aggressive for the next races. But today was perfect.
And so, as we say goodbye from Porto Cervo, and the Jack Daniels winning boat is towed by its transporter out of the paddock, a new boat takes the lead in the European Championship. Round 6 is at Viareggio on the west coast of Italy. Can Capaferri keep Sea-Reg in the lead, or will a new contender come into play?